Like I said, I think you're live.
Are we? Okay. Well, welcome back to Crazy Dave's Crew and the Thursday Threads Online Book Club. For December, I chose To Scotland with Love by Patience Griffith. And first thing I noticed when I opened my book, I bought this at a used bookstore. And when I opened it up, I got a signed book. So I thought that was pretty neat. I used to go and stand in line to get signed books at any number at A Wrinkle in Time, among others. But I always had a good time finding the autographed books. First thing, next month for January, let's pick up with the Jennifer Chiaverini Elm Creek Quilts books. Book 2, Round Robin. And if you missed the first one, it was excellent, The Quilter's Apprentice. And I'll make sure both The Quilter's Apprentice and this book are in our Amazon shop. The link is down below in the description. And they'll just take you a link straight to Amazon for you to purchase the book. I have to believe this one will be just as good as the first, but we will see. Now, I should have read the review down here at the bottom, and I love the way there's a quilt block here. But it says it is a magnificent triple hanky debut. It was a multiple hanky. I was crying, and she was really, really great at, you'd get a little misty-eyed at something, you'd read a little bit more, and then there was something else, and it just kept building until I'm sitting on the couch bawling. And I have to brag on my son. Let me tell you, the young lady who wins his heart is going to be the luckiest woman in the world, because he is such a tender and caring man. So I'm out here in the living room and I'm crying, and he comes out and kind of looks at me for a minute, and is that the book making you cry, Mom? Yeah. Okay. Just checking. And I just thought that was the sweetest thing in the world, that he'd heard me crying and he wanted to come check on me. But it is more than a triple hanky. This book is a little more earthy than the other books I've chosen. Not a lot of what I would call, foul language. If there was the F word, I must have skipped over it. And I kind of skipped over some of the sexual scenes. And there weren't but a couple, and they didn't last for long. But overall, I thought it was a good book. You dealt with some relationships. Going home again. She is from Chicago, and her husband is found dead in his girlfriend's bed. And she decides to go home to Gandygow in Scotland. And there's some relationships to mend. Her father had taken her and her mother away while her mother was sick. And she had never come back again. So her grandmother, kind of a feisty old woman. And then you have the movie star who hides out in his hometown in between movies. One thing I did like, let's see, she included a pronunciation guide. So you have Aileen and Ailsa, Bethia, of course, Buchanan, Kate. C-A-I-T was Kate. And C-A-I-T-R-I-O-N-A was Katrina. Kaylee, which I would have had no idea how to pronounce, was a party or a dance. Her grandmother was called Didy. So I did like the little definition and the pronunciation key. But Didy has a group of quilting ladies, and Kate had grown up quilting because Didy had taught her. And then she is inspired to help the community out. And hence comes in the Kilts and Quilts, because I believe that's the name of the retreat that she ends up creating. Of course, telling the famous movie star he has to stay away during those times if he wants to keep his privacy. But they talk about a number of things with that, and they end up doing a round robin. But both Graham, the movie star, and Kate have a lot of personal issues they have to deal with, dealing with death and loss. Some trust issues. One thing I did like is one of the ladies in the quilting group, she made a comment, and it was something to the effect of, now you've got the right end of the needle. And so instead of saying, well, yeah, you got it, you understand, it was, you got the right end of the needle. And I just thought that was really cute. Scotland is a very special place. So it was fun to read about Scotland and to try to read in all of the burr and the accent and things. I even told my son he was a good lad. He was. But I do like Scotland very much. I have a little bit of history with it. My maiden name is Davidson. So, of course, there's a Davidson Castle somewhere up in there. And I also believe there's a Davidson Waste Disposal Company. I would really like to know from everyone, are you enjoying these online book clubs? Are you inspired to read? And I figure right now is a horrible time between Thanksgiving and Christmas. We're all terribly, terribly busy. But are you enjoying these little sessions? Are you finding new books to read? Are you just liking hearing the book reviews? Would it be better for me to write a book review and put it on our website? Kind of give me some feedback on these little sessions. I would really like to know your honest opinion. So this is, I think, our fourth or our fifth. I've lost count. I think it's our fourth. But I have really been enjoying it. It's given me a reason to read, which I have not done a lot of recently. And we've been pretty busy. New grandbaby. First one. That was great. Dealing with insurance. That was fun. Husband had a car accident. That's been a lot of fun. And now, of course, trying to get ready for family and the holidays. So we are, I am so behind on so many things. I've got a November project to do from my Sew Up box, and I have received the December Sew Up box. But I have lots of more things in my head than I can possibly work out and do. Are y'all like that? There's so many things you want to do and so much you want to learn, but you find yourself overwhelmed. That's kind of where I'm at right now. Kids are out of school for the holidays. So third semester of college under the belt. I'm checking over at the screen to see if we've got any comments. We do love our comments. I have to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this in one of the last videos, but we were in Jackson. And what was the hotel we were at, honey?
No.
Well, we were there visiting
Comfort Suites.
Comfort Suites. We were there visiting our daughter and the new baby. And so if you're ever there at the Comfort Suites in Jackson, make sure to say hi to Gary. Gary is the manager of the breakfast. Excellent food, by the way, and he has got to be one of the nicest men I've met. He honestly will be the reason we go back to that hotel, just to be able to see him again. So, Gary, if you're watching, we really enjoyed meeting you and want to thank you for such a wonderful experience. Jackson's a pretty neat place. They have the Casey Jones Museum. And believe it or not, I learned something. I'd always thought that was one of those, long tales, folk tales. But he was, in fact, a real person. So that was fun. Seeing some of the sights. We wanted to do some geocaching and go to his gravesite, but we ran out of time. We ended up spending way too much time playing with the baby and talking to our daughter and her significant other. So we kind of ran out of time, so we didn't get to do that, but that gives us something to do the next time while they're all catching up on their rest. She's a little sad. He's growing too fast. Back to the book. I did think it was really good. Once it started off a little slow, but once I got into it, I didn't want to put it down. I guess because I needed to know what happened next. I needed to know what happened with Graham's son Duncan and his grandson Maddie. I needed to know how the relationship was going to go between Kate and her grandmother. I needed to know all these different things. And of course, every time something happened, and she really was great at, she had so many, sad things going on, but it is a fact of life. And one thing that struck me in the book, Kate, of course, is angry at her father for taking her and her mother away from family and home, and trying to fit back into her home place of Gandigal. A lot of times when we're going through something and we're dealing with something and we have such a loss, we don't realize that the person next to us or the person across from us might be going through something very, very similar, or going through something even worse. And that's something that happens, that sometimes, she was very focused on, she needed to get her career back going. Didn't matter who she hurt or what happened. And like it says back here, if she turns in the story about Graham, she'd given up her life as a journalist for this cheating husband. So she's wanting to get back into that. So she's going to write this story. But if she turns in the story again, the gal will never forgive her for betraying one of its own, should she suffer the consequences to resurrect her lost career. I think we can all guess that she didn't. She did choose to do the right thing. She did not betray him. She didn't betray her town. But there was a struggle, and having seen her work through that, and finding out that this man who seemed to have it all was having a lot of issues too. She kept talking about death and death as a person. Well, he was also very familiar with this person's death, and it hits hard. So of course, like I said, I'm using up the tissue, and I ran out of Kleenex, so I went and I got the roll of toilet paper, and I'm just crying and crying. And of course, I'm stuffy nose, I'm snotty, and I'm red-eyed, and then a headache. But it was good. And I said, if you don't like the earthy parts, you can just kind of skip over them. I have definitely read some romance novels that were a little bit more risque than this one. But this one is wickedly more risque than any of the other books that we have read for this video, for these sessions, or book club. This is the first that was a real romance. And it was kind of nice. It was also kind of nice that she's 31 and he's got a son and grandson, so they're both mature. They're not, these 19, 20-year-olds with, gorgeous and rich and yada, yada, yada. They're more real people. And the whole issue of family goes through. And ironically enough, it is set at Christmas time. And I did not know that when I picked this book for December. So talk about a coincidence. She ends up in Scotland in December and is there to celebrate Christmas and Boxing Day with her family and the town. And it turns out that she has a lot of extended family there in the town. And that is something that I would, a little jealous of. I would love to have more of that. I have fairly close to it, I think, with my church family. But of course, we're all spread around. In this case, they're all nestled together. But I just think that would be nice to have the kind of relationship that they are describing in this book. So this is not a rose-colored glasses, starry-eyed book. This is fairly realistic if you believe in that you're able, you're going to go meet a sexiest man alive movie star in a little town in Scotland. But it's more real people, I think, than a lot of the romance novels you'll get out there. I enjoyed the book. I would really be interested in hearing from you guys if you have read it. If you do read it, what you think of it. Honestly, there's not many books I don't like. There's only been a few in my life. And I think I've just pushed those out of my mind. So, second Tuesday in January, we will talk about Round Robin by Jennifer Chiaverini. Second Tuesday in January. I do not know what day that is. Let's see. Sunday is the 1st, 2nd, 3rd. That would be January 10th. January 10th, I think. Don't quote me on that. Round Robin by Jennifer Chiaverini. And let me know what you think of these online book club. If you have enjoyed them, if you love hearing me ramble about a variety of things, and if you've got an 18, 19-year-old girl who wants to be treated like she is the most wonderful thing in the world, my son is still available, and he would do right. Of course, right now he's not really into girls yet. He's a late bloomer, I think, but he would be a good guy. Both of them would be. Is anything I need to add, David? Oh, I do have to tell you, we sold a couple of our rabbits, and I never believe it's my place to tell the buyer what they can and cannot do with the animal. A lot of times you'll see it's a pet only to a pet home, only if it's an inside pet. Well, we had this wonderful, wonderful lady. She was, what, 87, 84? I hope I can get around half as good as she does. Betty, I think her name was. Just a delight. But we had this lion head girl and a lion lot boy. And she has named them Samson and Delilah. And she messaged us just the other day that they're doing great. They will come to her when she calls their name, so they know their names, and they eat out of her hand. And she is just tickled pink with her bunnies. And I delivered one yesterday to a lady who came from 3 hours away. She had seen a picture of him online, and she talked her husband into bringing her 3 hours for this rabbit, and she was just so delighted, and she was giggling, and she's holding him and already telling me that she was in love with him. So really made my day, both to see her with her new rabbit and then to get that message. So Betty, if you're watching, I want you to know, keep it. Okay.
Okay. Had a little hiccup there. It's all good.
Technical difficulty, but my husband got it fixed. Don't forget you can find us on Facebook under Crazy Dave's Crew, Thursday Threads Book Club. Also, the Crazy D Ranch and Rabbitry. So if you want to see pictures of the rabbits. We had a little bit of a scare. Georgie wasn't acting right. And we kind of loved on him and gave him some special attention. Gave him a girlfriend. He perked right up. So he's doing much, much better. It was so cute. He's off in the corner and just looking so dejected and like he wasn't feeling good, and just wanted him to have company, for a little bit. And so he put Spot in, and he really enjoyed having her in his cage and was loving on her, and it was really sweet. But he really perked him up, and he is much more himself now, so I'm feeling really good. But I did buy some fresh cilantro and some fresh parsley to give to him to kind of, and if his appetite doesn't improve, I'll go get some fresh rosemary, kind of, stimulate his appetite a little bit. But really enjoying having the rabbits. It's my rabbit therapy. Between reading, sewing, and rabbits, I've got a good life. Be sure to come back. We will be doing some more live with our box openings. I will be doing those projects. And I will be continuing my Bible block series. I've only gotten one so far, but I've got another one cut out and partially done, so we should be ready to go with that probably in January. So just don't forget to come back. We're so glad you joined us. Don't forget to let me know what you think of these sessions, and don't forget to come back. We will see you next time right here on Crazy Dave's Crew. Did anybody show up?